there are just people who are engaging personalities that are good to speak to. Coming to the microphone now, because she just can't avoid one. I trust you know everybody here.
Yes.
Hi,
Wait, no.
Kimberly, how are you?
Gaudet.
Yes.
You're the bad man. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Sarro.
I know Ben, yep.
So I don't, before I bring it too deep, no, actually, you can join this conversation. We just had the good fortune of interviewing Governor Jindal. And what say you about his speech? And gents, you now have the interview we just conducted with the governor to add to the speech. Let's talk about Governor Bobby Jindal for a second.
I was interviewing Donald Trump and Governor Huckabee, so I didn't hear Bobby Jindal's speech. Sorry.
You can leave now. Here I am trying to bring you into the conversation.
I like Bobby Jindal, though. I met him last year here, so he's a nice guy, and he's been a decent governor. So
yeah, I was actually surprised. I mean, you read numbers, and you hear he cut $9 billion, but then when he was speaking today, he said he actually reduced state spending by 26%. From where it was when he first took office, and there are now 30,000 fewer state employees in Louisiana. And it doesn't seem to me that Louisiana is any worse off for wear.
No, and let's keep in mind, this isn't Louisiana. This is the southern state that is the big spending state.
Yeah.
This out of control for years, out of control spending, out of control crime.
Out of control corruption. I mean,
yeah,
one of these
just
days
about to say,
yeah.
You had a governor, now I know it's been years and years, but long. Who said, not my problem, feds will fix it. Yeah. I mean, that's been the attitude down there forever.
That's been for decades, yeah.
Well, Huey Long, I mean, I forget the name of the movie, but Paul Newman played.
Really? I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. It was a riot.
Yeah, and then, of course, that was the land of Senator Mary Landrieu.
Oh, good God.
Oh, God. Don't even get started on her.
So, but Jindal, talk to me.
I was very impressed. To your point, he is a policy wonker, geeky, but I don't look at that as a bad thing. He is...
I know, someone just might like someone who knows what they're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it speaks to a level of engagement and competence, I think, in all areas, and that doesn't mean he's going to micromanage everything. He just gets it, so he's not going to be baffled by people's BS when they're sitting in a room or at a table saying, oh, no, this is the way it should go. No, I think it should go this way because of A, B, and C. Like you said, 3 points. He's a very intelligent guy.
There's a whole crop of Republicans this time around. Jindal's one of them. The complaint against Republicans, too simplistic, too down home, unintelligent, dumb. I mean, let's just call it what it is. They can't say that now. You got Bobby Jindal's a major one. Chris Christie, even for all of his personality issues, the guy's considered brilliant. And Ted Cruz, when you get a guy like, what's the guy who goes on Fox? Alan Dershowitz says he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
The most brilliant student he ever had.
That's pretty impressive. So they can't say that. But one thing I'll say about Jindal, I want to go back as I talk about the visuals and how these guys sound. Jindal gets attacked for being staccato and being a robot. I didn't get that. I sat back and just listened to him. The guy's animated. He's funny. He cracks jokes. He gets it. I like him.
He's got a compelling background too. So he's he can relate to we the people, as opposed to just being born with a silver spoon in his mouth and, this sort of was just handed to him. He's actually has a compelling background that people can relate to.
That Rubio-esque story.
Yeah,
being able to
Ted
relate
Cruz
that.
has it too.
Yeah.
We have a lot of that this time around as opposed to previous times.
Well, let me throw it out there. And if you are out there in radio world, you want to join in 603-606-6762. That's 603-606-6762. Does the Republican Party nominate a minority? Do they nominate a Jindal, a Cruz, now? None of them. And you notice when Jindal speaks, when Rubio speaks and Cruz speak, they tend to speak about their Cuban heritage. When Jindal speaks, when asked, he'll talk about his Indian heritage. Mm-hmm. But he's more of just the immigrant. But you've got a number of children of immigrants, like me. My father was born in Canada, running.
Yeah.
Does the Republican Party nominate the child of an immigrant?
Too early to tell.
I would like to think my Republican Party doesn't care.
Right.
That's the thing. They don't care. They don't care. And they wouldn't even use that. I would think that they wouldn't even use that as a sort of selling point, because there's no point because we're all Americans. What's the big thing we always say? We're all Americans.
We're all sons
not,
of immigrants.
Right.
One
we're
way or
not,
another, right?
Or daughters.
Or daughters, to your point, yes.
But the thing is, they look at us as all Americans, as opposed to you're a male, you're a son of an immigrant,
Yeah.
you're.
I'm a son of a gun.
Son
Yeah.
of, you know what I mean? They don't look at it. That's not how we're looked at in conservative land.
I don't hear, you know what? I really don't hear Republicans, conservatives, libertarians even talking about this issue. It's only in response to
Yes.
you don't get the right people. You didn't get the right person. That's the only time our people on our side of right of center ever bring it up.
Right.
Well, Hillary Clinton likes to talk about her grandparents who were all
What
immigrants.
was that all about?
I have no idea.
That came out of nowhere.
They either changed her meds or she's wandered off them. I mean, it's just.
Well, you know what? The problem that she has now is, keep in mind, she's still running, even though young people think that she's this new, fresh candidate. She's been in some way involved in politics since the 1980s,
Since college.
1970s, really. She comes from a time where there was no internet. There was no Twitter. There was nobody to fact check. Now she's got fact checkers. Uh-oh. Oops.
Yeah. Does she?
What?
Is there anything that is going to be said or done, positively or negatively, that is going to change anybody's perception of Hillary Clinton and their decision to vote for them or not?
I don't think so. I
Vote
think
for her or
that
not.
that
Is that set in
unless
stone?
they were living
think
unless they were
so.
living in another planet for the last 30 or 40 years.
I think if she personally goes over to Syria and beheads John the Butcher or Abdullah the Butcher or whatever his name is, that might make me want to say, all right, she's got moxie. But other than that, I just don't see that.
You're going to have people like me who have not been able to stand her since I discovered the truth about her several years ago, because I did a lot of research reading books about the truth about her, because in 2008 I didn't think she was so bad, other than the fact that she supported her husband, who was a serial sexual assaulter,
Sure.
and victimized his victims. She enabled him to continually do that. So I had that issue with her, but other than that, I didn't know how bad and how corrupt she was. That will change some people's mind. I know a lot of Democrats, women, who find out the truth, because I like to post it often on her site. They find out the truth and they read it and they get mad. I didn't know that. That's what they say. I didn't know that, because the mainstream media doesn't post all that stuff. You know, everybody knows about Monica Lewinsky pretty much, but whatever. Oh, she was just a little, trying to use the right word here. It was her. It was her, whatever, blah, blah. But they don't know all the bad facts about, they don't know that Bill Clinton settled the civil lawsuit about rape. They don't know that. So you show these women the facts, and then some of them
Come around.
get really mad.
Now, speaking of policy wonks, I'm looking up at the monitor and I see Ohio
you got a
Governor
big one
John
here.
Kasich up there. What do we know about Kasich? We missed Senator Graham's speech because we were doing our own dialogue, and we're going to miss all of Governor Kasich because we had the interview with Governor Jindal. Talk to me about John Kasich. I remember years ago when he did run for president, when he was chairman of the House Budget Committee, governor of Ohio. Not an insignificant state in the union. Does he get enough cachet to pull off a campaign?
Didn't he put Common Core in place? He said, didn't he pull a Mayor Gatstis?
Well, let's not pick on Mayor Gatsas. No, and I mean that because you know what? I'll address Mayor Gatsas in a minute. But yeah, I do recall that he took because he needed to take the money to help fill a budget hole, which a lot of governors in the country did because they were so dependent on.
Yeah, they needed the money.
Right.
But what about, I'd have to look it up to tell you Obamacare's Medicaid expansion. I have
believe
to
they
double
did
check
that
on
too.
that.
I believe they did that too. So you think he's a non-starter in a Republican
He's a
primary?
non-starter. Yeah,
Well,
he's-
in a primary, I think he's way too moderate to have any success in a primary.
See, and that's funny because I remember when John Kasich was one of those conservatives in
I
the
remember when he
House
was good, yeah.
years and years ago.
I'm going to give him a title, and I think a lot of people will run from him on this. Compassionate conservative.
Oh, my
God,
head.
yeah.
And, keep in mind, Christie came out the other day and really shocked the world, which is just ridiculous, but he shocked the world when he came out and said, entitlement reform. You got a guy taking the stage right now who has shown a lot of favoritism for welfare programs. And I'm not talking about, like, welfare work programs. We're going to give you some money while you go to school and learn a trade. This is, you need the money, we'll give it to you. I don't think there's a lot of stomach for that right now in conservative politics.
No.
I'm not sure how much stomach there is for that right now in general, but So Kasich is probably a non-entity.
Yeah. I just
Now,
I
was it Jindal? I'm trying to remember, but someone said that they had so changed their state's budget that they've gotten rid of almost all of the structural deficit, like from being responsible for a quarter of their revenues, it's down to 3%. And I want to say that was.
I think
was it
that
Jindal?
I think that was Jindal. I will say one that I just want to go back to Kasich for just a second. He does have one strong platform that if he plays it right, he can do very well. It is arguable that no state in the country has been more affected by the WTO than Ohio. I had a guest on recently, the World Trade Organization.
That's right, okay.
And keep in mind, you talk about Hillary Clinton, who supposedly was a major player in her husband's administration. He's the one that really pushed to get and got China into the WTO for very unfavorable trade agreement with the United States.
Right.
Let's face it, how much of our stuff goes? I mean, I saw the statistics came out this week from Dredd. We sent... are we in bumper music? Oh, no, that's on there. Okay, I'm like, better go quick.
Do we want to tune in for Governor Huckabee, or do we want to continue
He's
our
probably a
conversation?
good one to listen to, but I just want to get this in there. State of New Hampshire sent $299 million worth of product to China. Now, you think about that. That sounds, wow. How much product did China send to the state of New Hampshire?
Probably a lot more.
Ohio and Kasich has a very good argument to say this has been a loser, Hillary Clinton, and supposedly you're a major part of the administration. You made this happen. He's got a strong platform.
Gotcha.
That's
All
good.
right. With that, folks, we're going to go and listen to former Arkansas governor and former perhaps presidential candidate again, Mike Huckabee.
Somebody wants to know, what is it like running against their...
Actually, boys, hit station ID.